Let's take our caller here. We got Daniel calling in to Truth Wanted. Daniel, welcome back on the show. The topic, the subject, the call screener is put liner, lunatic, or lord, RE, alien abductions, which is a great call description there. Thank you to our call screener. Daniel, what's going on?
Well, not much. I noticed that you asked for callers, so I thought I'd call in, and you guys started talking about the UFO subject, so it's just perfect for me to call in.
Yes, makes sense to me. Makes sense to me, Daniel. I know you got takes about what happened this week, so lay it out. Tell me what you think.
Well, I didn't even hear about this Congress shit, whatever. I really don't care, you know. I think it's a load of bullshit, to tell you the truth. I think they're just it's just distraction, you know. They're not really going to tell us anything. But,
interesting. Well, first, I thought you were going to say because you're Canadian, so you don't give a shit what happens in the U.S. politics, and that's fine. But you're saying no, aliens are real and they are hiding it, but they are not. They're just not going to tell us. Like they're not even going to be able to testify to Congress. That's your position.
Yeah. No, it's just all a cloak and mirrors shit, and you know they're just. I mean, your election just proves why we can't know the truth, you know, like, because we're a bunch of fucking stupid apes on this planet. And remember a while back, you guys, we ended the show. I called in and I said about alien abductions, and I said there's either three things going on: the people are either lying, or they're it's some mental phenomenon, or they're telling the truth. And then you brought up the this thing about Jesus, whether he's a liar, or this liar, lunatic, or Lord. Right?
That's right.
And I think the main problem, I could have told you that night, but I did look into it, and right away the main problem is that the Jesus quote, the liar, lunatic, or Lord, that's supernatural. That's a supernatural claim, where the claim I'm making is not supernatural. I think these aliens that I think are in our solar system and are behind the UFO phenomena, they're part of our natural universe. They come from the same natural universe that we originate from. Right?
Okay, that's an interesting take. I hear what you're saying there. I think like what I would compare it to though is like substantively though, I still think it holds up because like if you think about like the reporting of like angel sightings in phenomenon, right? Like when you look at older bits of history, like that was definitely a prevalent thing, and that has like gone down, and there's more people that see like UFOs now than aliens these days, right? So like I still think that the supernatural necessarily isn't the dividing thing here. It's more just like the viability of the claim, because like I agree, like if aliens existed, right, like you and I would think this is a naturalist phenomenon, right? There's something that could be explained by science, but we still wouldn't even have the science to explain how aliens would get here right now, right? Because we know the difference in light years between us and the nearest habitable solar system, right? Or habitable planet. So it would have to be something even beyond our comprehension, which might as well be supernatural in some respects.
Well, no, I disagree. Well, I got one theory. Well, how about, like I think I mentioned this before, how about it's going to happen to us? We're not going to be, our days as surface dwellers are numbered. We're not, our ozone layer is not going to last forever. And when that goes away, we're going to have to either build domes around our cities, like physical domes, and we're going to have to go underground. And I think that's what happens to a planet. And you know, we know that stars die, and if you're in a solar system and your sun whatever dies, you have to leave that solar system, or you have to find. And I think one way is you could take your planet and turn it into a spaceship, basically, and then get into a different orbit, and then travel around the universe till you find another solar system and park yourself in that orbit of that solar system. And I think that's what happened in our solar system. What?
And that's Mars is your speculation.
No, not necessarily. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Can I just say real quick too? I just want to say, when you said our days on the surface are numbered, I sincerely thought you were going to say that the mole people revolution was going to happen, and like there's like we were going to be overtaken by some sort of underground civilization. Your
Oh,
thing
that's
makes like a
funny.
little bit more sense, but like that's where I thought you were going with that. Just want to put that out there. So anyway,
No,
You know,
no, I
yeah, Kelley, go ahead.
right after that, you were talking about having to build domes in the ozone layer and everything, and then you said we know that's what happens to planets, and I was wondering, how do we know what?
no, I mean, Kelley, I mean that we know that stars, that the sun, our sun, is not going to last forever, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
but
all I
I
mean.
mean, but we were talking about planets in the ozone layer, right? And living on the surface. That's what you were talking about, and that's why I was trying to put a connection between how do we. Can you actually said we know that's what happens to a planet. So I was just wondering, and I know I know a lot of people have speculation that that's like sort of like the death of Mars, that there was people living there. Is that where you're going with this?
Not necessarily, but yes, I do think that Mars did have a different climate, like a million years ago or whatever. Because I've sent in pictures to Dan that, and NASA's hiding this. They're putting that orange pink bullshit over all the pictures, that orange pink filter, everything is seen through. That's not what Mars looks. I don't believe that's true. They're hiding. I sent you pictures of little beings and little animals and stuff.
But you don't think Mars is orange?
I think it's red. I think when we look at it from a telescope, when we look at it in the night sky, it's a red planet, yes. But I don't think they're telling the truth about. I don't think that NASA is telling us the truth with the pictures that they're sending us. They're giving us. They always got
why not?
Orange pinkish filter. What?
Sorry? Well, why not? I mean, have you ever been like to the southeast of the United States? All the dirt looks like is that color.
Right. I agree.
If the dirt is iron rich, that would be normal.
No, yeah, I see your point. No, I agree, but I think they're doing a little exaggeration on it. That's all I'm trying to say. They're just to kind of make everything kind of blend together.
What would be the purpose of that? What would be the motive?
Well, again, I've had this discussion before. It's a bigger issue. It's not just that there's life on Mars, or there was. I think there is, but that would open up a can of worms where they have to admit more of an alien presence in our solar system.
Why would that be a problem? Why would that be a problem for them? It seems to me that if they could make that discovery, hey, we've actually found life on Mars, that would be huge. That could make a scientist's entire career. I mean, you would never have to worry about grant money again for the rest of his life.
Sure. But I'm saying that then they'd have to admit more, like what's behind the UFO phenomenon, and are there? And I think, remember, I said,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If they could, it's not a question of admitting that. If they could show the proof of that, if they could have that proof in public, that would make a guy's career.
Let me steel man Daniel here, because like think about it like this too, Kelley. Right? Like, okay, if you how you figure out what's going on in space, right? You have technology for that, and you have capabilities for that, and like the methodology by which that is done is not always publicly known, right? Like there's ex security people that talk about this thing, right? Where they're like, yeah, we know that these other countries have satellites and stuff, but they're not supposed to, and like we have satellites in places that we're not supposed to, right? There's all kinds of like communication and other kinds of technologies, intelligence technologies that would, necessarily be revealed in such a way that, if the alien phenomenon was real, might reveal technology or strategic resources, relationships, whatever, that, we may not go public. So this is the one time, and I'm very consistent on this, that I always pretty much agree with the alien folks, that I do think there is an incentive for a government to hide its knowledge of aliens. But I don't think that means that there's aliens on Mars. Let me be clear. I don't think that's the thing. I'm just saying, I always push back on the skeptic position on this, because there's absolutely reason why I feel like you would, but maybe. I don't know. Maybe you feel differently.
I can understand why why a government might want to keep that secret. I just don't see how you would be able to keep that secret from 1,000 independent scientists who are all looking at up in the sky with their telescopes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that you're right. So like, I think that's where I agree with you, because it's like, there's all kinds of astronomy agencies, like people doing space stuff that aren't necessarily government, right? Like they're private, and there's like universities and things that aren't necessarily government funded or anything like that. So yeah, I do think in terms of space, you're right. You're right. It does cause issues there for the alien position, I guess. I don't know. Daniel, your thoughts?
Well, like I said, I sent you those pictures from Mars.
Yeah, but we talked about them, and we're not. I'm not convinced that they're people. I think they're rocks. I think what you said was rocks.
But Dan, have you really closely looked at those pictures? Like, really, just sit down for like 10, 15 minutes. Get a magnifying glass. I'm sure Kelley has one. Get the picture as clear as possible, and then with the magnifying glass, go up to the screen and magnify the picture even more, and just get a look at it. You can see, I can see, like on two of them, there are two little beings. I can see a little attachment to their chin. They both got devices attached to their chest. You can see what look like two animals.
But Daniel, one problem is, one, you've already told me that anything that's coming from NASA is sus in the first place, right? So I don't know why I would trust these images from NASA to be accurate more than any other images from accurate. If they're doing all kinds of filtering and stuff, there's all kinds of data artifacts that can happen with this kind of stuff. So I don't know why I would begin to trust it now. And two, I don't think the existence of aliens is going to be just because some pictures look funny from NASA. That cannot be enough for me. And the ones that I saw, again, that we showed on the air to folks, it to me just looked like rocks. I think I could look at it longer if you really want me to, Daniel, but I don't see myself changing my opinion on that.
I don't know. I said, I see it, but
I know, but you're actually looking for something like that too. Your mind is already set on finding something like that.
Yeah.
But Kelley, you can distinguish when something, like if you put a fucking Hoover vacuum cleaner out in the Nevada desert for fucking 200 years, it's going to look like it's going to be all desiccated and calcified, and it's going to start looking like the rocks around it, but it's still going to have its basic shape that you can see it was made, and distinguish it from nature. And you see that in those fucking pictures. You really do.
You were saying, but Daniel, when we took those pictures, you were saying they were living creatures. You weren't saying they were just bodies scattered about. You were saying they were like actual organic life.
Yeah, I see
like
those
little beings.
Yeah, that's different from a vacuum that's in the desert for 200 years.
No, I'm just using that as an example to say, I'm just using that as an example to say it would look like the rocks and everything around it would get all calcified, and that's what some of those objects were. I know I'm jumping around.
That's not how it works. It wouldn't become all calcified unless it was under extreme certain conditions. I'm speaking as a geologist, somebody who has studied rocks. So when I look at those pictures,
I know.
Do you know what a hoodoo is?
No.
Okay, what I'm seeing there is a hoodoo. When the last time we talked, I tried to explain what a hoodoo was to you. I don't think you were getting it then. It's HOU.
I never heard this.
HOUDOU. Google a hoodoo, geology hoodoo, and take a look at what you're seeing there and compare that to the pictures that you're getting, because that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing what I believe is a hoodoo, a small hoodoo.
Well, anyways, I don't know. I just think it's a shame we can't learn about it.
Say that last part, Jane. I didn't quite hear you.
Well, I think it's a shame that we can't learn about it, because I think they are covering it up. And I think you guys, when we had to talk about not that you want to believe something, but I think you can be so skeptical that you don't want to believe things. You just don't want to believe things. Because I think a lot of people, this rando from Canada calling in about aliens and that, who wants to fucking believe me? Why would they? I get it.
Well,
but I've been watching these guys for years, and these anomaly channels. You can see you can see pictures of the moon, various planets, and that, and the surfaces are all blank and blurry, and then they apply some Photoshop and they show it right in front of you. And they give you the picture. They're not hiding anything. And it's just like turning down the brightness on a TV set. If you crank up the brightness on a video screen, you'll just see blank. You'll see nothing. But if you turn it back, the image just comes alive, and that you could start seeing the image. And that's what they're doing, and that's what I've been seeing for years.
I know, but it's just not a forensically sound technique for image analysis. It's just not.
Yeah,
it's just not a good technique.
Yes. What?
This is another thing that we talked about, right? Like I cannot change my entire worldview on the existence of aliens because a guy from YouTube opened up Photoshop and turned up the brightness on some pictures from Mars, and they look kind of funny. Like that's not enough for me to change my mind. Right? Like it's too big. The claim is too big, Daniel. That's the problem. It's too big. It has to be more. It can't be just a small group of guys. And here's the thing, right? Let me put it to you this way. When we first discovered like nuclear processes, right? When people were speculating about this stuff, when Einstein was talking about black holes, right? They didn't just say, "Oh yeah, black holes must be real because Einstein came up with this idea and it seems to make sense." Like that's not how that happened, right? Like people were still right and still didn't have enough evidence to demonstrate that something was real, right? Like you can still be right and still just not have enough to make your case. So it's not that I don't think that it's possible at all. I just don't think that the evidence that we're seeing here, at least when it comes to the photo stuff, that's not enough, right? So it's got to be more. That's really it.
No, I hear you.
That's where I'm coming from too. It's just, I don't think I'm being too skeptical on this. This is a huge claim, and it's going to take huge proof. I agree.
And there's grifters. You know this, Daniel. There's grifters everywhere, right? People actively, maliciously trying to trick people. So
especially when there's, especially when we have regular answers to these things, like the hoodoo. The formation of the hoodoo. If we have an explanation that we know about, then why wouldn't we take that explanation before we jump to something that's outside of our realm of knowledge?
Yeah. What were you going to say, Daniel?
No, I was going to say the grifters. They're not grifters. These are just guys. They're just average guys who just do this like a hobby. They work, but I'm not sending you to Alex Jones, where Alex Jones is going to talk about how aliens are here to turn us into gay satanic frogs or whatever the fuck he believes in. These aren't that. They're not fucking grifters selling boner pills, whatever he fucking does.
Okay, but how do you know these people aren't grifters though? Because because listen, the grifters come in all kinds. Every time you watch a YouTube video and there's an ad on it, you're supporting somebody's channel.
I know.
Right? And so there are people that absolutely do benefit from misinformation in different communities, right?
I understand that. Yeah, of course. But they're not but again, it's a huge difference between Alex Jones and these kids. They're just average people who just got day jobs, and they're not making millions of dollars. They're not selling shit and all that. They're just
I don't think you have to make millions of dollars to be a grifter. I also think that you can have sincere beliefs in something and also be a grifter. I think Alex Jones is actually sincere in a lot of his beliefs. I told this story before. I've met Alex Jones in real life. When the COVID lockdown stuff was happening, he was 100%. I've never been more convinced that, this man is absolutely being real about what he believes, because this was off show. He didn't identify himself. I recognized him in a store, and it was in the beginning of March. He was buying alcohol, and the cashier was like, how are you doing? What's going on? And he went on this entire rant about how Austin was going to be locked down and how we were all going to be put in FEMA camps and stuff. Nobody asked him, "Hey, are you Alex Jones from such and such?" That's just his life. That's when I knew, like, okay, this man is serious. Like, okay, I've seen it. It's not just a bit. I do think people can have really radical beliefs and still also grift as well, as you know, Alex Jones being case one. But like, look, I don't think that necessarily even means it's malicious either. I think it's complicated, but the point is, like, there are definitely conferences and books that are written in the UFO community that absolutely are based on nothing but bullshit. And I don't think that just because some YouTube guy is saying, "Hey, here's some other stuff," yeah, is he malicious? Maybe not. But it doesn't mean that he's talking real stuff just because he's your average Joe either, right? So I don't know.
No, I know. I'm just saying, you know.
Yeah. Well, look, Daniel, we've given you a lot of time here today. I know there's some other folks who want to talk to us. Did you have anything else you wanted to say before we let you go?
No, thanks. I like talking to you, and it's been fun talking to you. I like it.